And we're back
After
after 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes. A little hiatus again.
An unwanted hiatus,
Yeah,
but we're here.
correct.
We're here.
All right.
So,
So let's get into it.
yeah.
This week's episode is how to know if she's wife material. So this one is for the guys again.
Guys, you really want to listen to this because I have things to say. All right. Before we begin, just want to let you all know. Again, we're doing audio podcasts as well, the audio version only. And we're on all major podcasting platforms. Okay. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're there. Check out the episodes. If you missed the older video episodes, the audios to them are already up, and we're trying to post at least one audio per week. Okay, so make sure and check it out. Again, with audios, you don't have to sit and listen to it. You could be doing chores or homework, studying, whatever it is that you do.
Or you commute to work.
Working on your business, whatever it is, and you could be listening to it at the same time. Okay. So yeah. And if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, if you like the topics we're talking about, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Okay. We're looking to hit 1,000. So if you like what you see, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Okay. All right. So I guess we can start.
Yeah.
All right. So, how to know if she's wife material? I think I chose this one.
Right.
I chose
I was
that.
now
I
gonna
think because
ask you that.
we were having this conversation a week ago actually,
Right.
and we were planning to do another topic for this episode,
Mhm.
and I decided to change it because we see a lot of guys falling into this trap of not knowing how to choose the right woman. Right? We've had experiences, right, in that regard. You know, obviously, it helps shape you. Things like this help shape you, right? This is not blame game or anything like that. Things happen, right? Not everyone is made for you, right? You burn, you learn, you move on, right? So we were having this conversation and we were saying, I think we should do this because guys need somewhat of not a blueprint, but more like a guide. A guide to kind of navigate the dating space.
Right.
Because we didn't really have that when we were younger, coming up. So we get the experience and so on. So I think it's only best that we share our experience. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is the way men tend to choose women. The typical way.
I could give some.
You go ahead. You go ahead. You give the.
I'll give the first the intros to it.
All right.
All right. So typically, based on what I went through, right? Based on how I would have chosen in the earlys a woman, right? You know, guys, we are visual creatures, right? The visual senses appeal to us, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's just how we wired.
Yeah, we
Right?
just wired to like what we see.
Right.
We like shiny things.
Correct. Right? But not all glitter is gold.
No.
And every shiny thing that passes is definitely, as you mentioned, is not for us. Right? And so I would have, like most guys, would have gone about trying to pursue physical attraction, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're seeing. That's the upfront thing, right?
Yeah.
However, there are things that follow closely behind that in terms of you need to be very discerning, especially when it comes to that. Nothing is wrong with the physical because obviously that's what attracts us initially, right? But you need to look for certain things, as we would have mentioned in a previous episode, certain red flags, certain things. Nothing wrong with approaching a woman, talking to her, getting to know her, right? But not letting that beauty, the outside physical appearance, blind you and blind everything that goes beyond that.
Exactly, because there are certain intangibles that we have to take into consideration.
Right. And you also would have mentioned in a previous episode, bro, that there's certain, we must have standards for ourselves and certain things that we are not willing to compromise. And that goes very well hand in hand with that. So, yes, guys, there may be there are a lot of physically attractive women out there, right? But you need to have your head on, basically. You can't just let beauty blind you. You can't have that simp mindset.
You have to think with this head,
Correct.
this one.
And not because the woman, you know, batting her eyelids or the fake eyelashes
Or the soft voice.
or the
Look at the
soft voice that you're going along with every single thing that she says.
I got a few soft voice in my time.
But I still get out today.
But,
Did I still try?
hmm.
So
Now, well, I just run from the soft voice.
yeah. I just be like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. Right? But yeah, so guys, you need to think with this head, right? Don't let the pretty face fool you, right? There are many pretty faces and bad characters behind those pretty faces out there. Right?
And that is not a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I know the song tries to make it seem like that is a good thing, but in reality it's not a good thing. It might be a good thing if you just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode is about choosing a wife, how to know if someone is wife material.
Correct. So
So
you're talking about marriage material.
exactly, we're talking about marriage material. So pretty face and bad character might be nice to have fun, but it's not nice for the wife.
So
Pretty face and bad character is nice if you want to have fun. It's not nice if you're looking to get married to someone. So please, I know, guys, listen, I know I'm a guy, right? I love women just as much as the other guy. But we have to stop thinking with the other head. You have to think with this one. We need to be more analytical. We need to be more logical. We need to stop just shooting and hoping it stick. Every pretty face or nice hair or nice shape, you don't have to like bring out your best lines. Like, oh gosh, girl, you're defrauding my mobby. Yes, people use that in Trinidad. People use that line in Trinidad still. Yeah, and it work out for them. Anyway, so yeah, be logical. Be logical. Think about your approach. Think about be intentional. I keep how many times, how many episodes this is. Be intentional when you're choosing someone.
I don't think it could be said enough. I don't think it could be
So I'll
said
say it
enough.
one more time. Be intentional with the person that you're choosing, please. With the woman that you're choosing, please. Right? Stop just looking at the outer appearance. Like I said earlier, there are intangibles that you have to take into consideration. There are non-negotiables that you have to have. There are standards that you have to have when choosing a wife. If you want to have fun, you don't have to worry about those things. But when you're talking about getting married, there are certain intangibles, there are certain standards, there are certain non-negotiables that you cannot ignore. You cannot compromise them.
Yep. Because let's be honest, right? There are a lot of women today, today's modern woman, who are attractive. They know that they're attractive, and they know how to use the attraction to use men
Yeah,
to get whatever they want.
yeah. That is the third wave feminism mindset.
So again, as we would have mentioned, the little blink of the eyes, the soft voice, these little things.
But you have to, but what they need to remember is that this only brings some short-term benefit.
Correct.
It doesn't.
It's not lasting.
Yeah, it's not lasting. It's just a fleeting thing. You'll get some benefit from it. You might get a Gucci purse, maybe a trip or two, maybe. But really, at the end of it, you're still missing something. You feel empty inside still, right? And if you don't get what you want, if they don't get what they want, then men are this, men are that, so on and so forth. Or if a
if they
man
don't
plays
get
the same game as you,
right,
men are this, men are that, so on and so forth.
and even before that, even if they don't get what they want from this guy, they'll move on to another guy.
Exactly, they move on to another guy, right? Or they're getting it from this guy, but another guy have more,
Right.
right? And that's where that is one characteristic that you have to look out for. Is she superficial? Does she go big? I could tell any guy right now. If you are now starting off, whether it is you are studying to be an engineer, you're studying to be a doctor, or you're working on a business, right? You're now starting out, so you don't have any money really to splurge with, right? And there's a girl that you like, or a girl that you're attracted to, and she blows you off because of that inability to spend at that point in time. Count it as a blessing.
They just say from a bullet.
Count it as
Dodge
a blessing.
bullet.
Count it as a blessing.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of women like that right now. Not all, not even a majority.
Right.
There just are a lot of them like that.
So here we are again. You can't paint everybody with the same brush.
Can't paint everybody with the same brush.
It's not right.
Yeah. And like we mentioned in episode 10 with Karen Rose, you have to look for the woman that is understanding and knows where you're going. Someone who's willing to build with you. That is the mind. That's one of the characteristics that you need in a woman that you want to marry. Someone who's willing to build something with you. And I think the reason why a lot of women think like this is also a lot of the music that they listen to now.
Hmm.
We're not going to get into the whole details of music industry and black community and so on and so, like, that's another story for another day. But they get influenced by the lyrics in this music. You know, like the guy have to come with a bag and this, and you have to take me to whatever to buy, or you have to buy me Yves Saint Laurent, or whatever it is.
The false expectations.
Like, everything is superficial, everything is material. So, and this, us talking about this, I think girls should look at it from an objective point of view as well. How many guys would have mentioned this, and everyone, all of the girls are saying, you don't know what you're talking about. But we are the ones that have to deal with you at the end of the day. So we're telling you what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want. So the least you could do is listen. You can't want to be with a guy but expect him to be how you want him to be. Guys are not wired like that.
And not only that, they want to be with a particular type of guy.
And they want to be with a particular type of guy. The recently cliched high value man.
But the high value man don't want that.
But the high value man not going to put up with that. The high value man is not going to put up with, I want to go hot girl summer, girl trip. Right? They're not going to put up with someone who's not agreeable. Right? They're not going to put up with someone who needs to seek validation through likes or DMs from other men, or comments on the pictures, or having to, like, expose themselves on social media. High value man is not going to tolerate it. It's that simple. A high value man wants it's a typically biblical term, but a helpmeet. They want someone who could support them. Right? No one is saying don't go for, if you have ambition, and yes, you're going for your degree, and it's something that you're interested in, and it's something that you're passionate about, by all means go for it. But understand, a man does not care about the accolades or the properties or the cars that you may have acquired. These are for the girls that say that they don't need a man, but they seem to still want to date men. I don't need you, but well, if you don't need me, stop trying to date. If you don't need men, stop trying to date men. Like, just be by yourself. Nobody want to date men. So ultimately, you need us for something. You can't pinpoint what it is, but you still need us. But yeah, but to try to, like, there's a false sense of empowerment or something, and you don't even have to do that. You don't even realize, a lot of girls don't even realize where their power truly lies. Your power,
That's a very important point.
yeah, your power does not lie in trying to be a boss ass bitch, according to which I despise that term. Your power does not lie in that. Your power lies in your grace. Your power lies in your femininity. Your power lies in your love. If you come to a man with those things, your life would be so much easier. So that's my little 2 cents to the girls. So for the guys, listen, please avoid the superficial woman. Please avoid the gold digger. Like I said, if you're lucky enough to be starting off and the girls that you've met, they're blowing you off because you're not established, count it as a blessing. Count it as a blessing.
How many of how many times we got that same thing blown off because we weren't established? How many bullets we dodged?
Boy. Dodge a few in secondary school, dodge a few in tertiary education, a few
Mm-hmm.
bullets. Well,
Yeah.
dodge a few.
Feel like we're in the Matrix.
Neo?
Yeah, boy, it's serious, guys. It's serious. It's really
Yeah.
serious.
Because here's what. You're going to try and try and try and try, and they eventually give in. But typically, someone who is a woman that is a gold digger, a woman that is superficial, also tends to be disloyal.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the money, and someone, or they're also attention seeking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the money, you don't have the means to splurge, and someone comes along. Hey, beautiful. Look, I could take you anywhere you wanna go. I could take you to Dubai, I could take you island hopping,
The Maldives.
the Maldives, could go to Antigua, you could go to Italy, you could have pasta in the home of pasta. You know, you
Hmm.
could see the Eiffel Tower. Instantly, you're gonna start hearing this. Um, she'll come to you, babe. Me and the girls are going on a trip. We're gonna be going for a week. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. I'll call you when I get there. Chances are I mightn't hear about it. I mightn't hear from her. Chances are. She may post pictures, but the funny thing is you may not see any of the girlfriends. Because she didn't go with any girlfriends. I'm sure there are guys out there that have gone through this. Alright. Please again forget the appearance. Forget the physical appearance. Avoid the woman that is disloyal, superficial, attention seeking. And Another one, very important one, is entitled.
Oh gosh.
You see the ones that feel as though they deserve
The
the
will.
world.
God's gift to men. Yeah.
You don't receive without giving. So you don't deserve anything. What have you contributed? You think just your mere existence is a gift to mankind? No, you have to do something with that existence. You have to provide value in some way with that existence. Like we would have spoken about um, your your birth as being uh, unique, and that and your birth alone makes you special. We would have mentioned that in purpose.
Right.
However, doing nothing with it and just accepting, okay, I'm here and I deserve to be showered with the golds and the flowers and everything. That's not how the world works. That's not how life works. Being entitled isn't going to get you anywhere.
Hmm.
You might get a few things for as long as you have a shelf life.
Correct. Because I'm sure there are women out there who say, well, they might even listen to the program, they may not, but the ones who listen, they might say, well, let's not try really getting whatever, thing, but just, as you say, as you mentioned, there's a shelf life, there's only a particular time period for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, in the end, when you think about it, when the shelf life is up and you're still single, you're not going to blame yourself.
Hmm. Usually not.
You're not going to blame yourself. You're going to talk about how men are such horrible people.
Mhm.
There's actually I actually saw recently that a professor at a notable university in the United States, female professor, wrote a paper on why or, or the world don't need men, or why the world doesn't need men, or something like that, something along those lines.
Hmm. Okay.
And I was baffled. Why was I baffled? Because the same platform that you used to write that article and publish that article was built by men. The university that you would have studied in was built by men.
Hmm.
So you write an article essentially saying that it's pretty much okay to exterminate half the population. That's essentially what you're saying.
Hmm.
There's some women who think they have fun in doing wickedness to men. Like you saw those there's some videos circulating on TikTok where women are taking their boyfriends or their husbands' gaming consoles and throwing it out the window and or throwing it in the in the bathtub or crushing it with something, knowing that that is their peace, that is their leisure, and they're literally destroying the only thing that brings them peace because their wife or their girlfriend is not bringing them peace. That's another characteristic, the inconsiderate.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw a couple of those videos.
And it messes with men's mental health, and there's another episode we're gonna have.
Yeah, and even that is also part of the attention seeking
Yeah,
because they find that they're not getting enough
yeah,
attention.
you're not spending time with me. I literally like, and I've seen guys saying, but we spent the whole day together yesterday. I didn't talk to any of my guys. I didn't go anywhere. I just spent time with you. I just want to have an hour or two on the game with the guys. And it's a problem.
Yeah,
It's a problem.
and I think in that same realm of sphere, there are some women who just don't like to see guys happy.
Yeah, yeah. Like they hear guys laughing and it's a problem.
Yeah, you mustn't enjoy yourself outside of being with me.
Yeah, and you know what? I noticed as well. A lot of them, like, they are angry that guys could laugh or have fun with like little, like these smallest things, like the stupidest things that we would laugh at,
Yeah,
and like they get angry at that, and it's like we're just having fun. It's not even like we're making fun of you or anything. And I think it was Kevin Hart. He had a special where he spoke about him and the guys out, and his girl calls, and she hears him having fun over the phone, and he's laughing at his friends, and he's not going to take another shot. Okay, okay, I'll take another shot. And he's like, hey, babe. And she was like, you know what? Do you? Do you? Because I'm going to do me. Do you? And he's like, what? He's like, and she's like, what's so funny? You laughing at my stretch marks? Like, but nobody even know you have stretch marks. But like, it was an over exaggeration because obviously it's a comedy special and so on. But this is a reality for a lot of guys. Like they can't even have fun with their partners, with their friends, with the guys that they grew up with or the guys that they went to college with. Like when you have to deal with the already negative societal stereotypes as a man, and you have to come home to chaos.
which I mentioned in previous episode as well.
It messes with you mentally. As a man, it messes with you mentally because they're inconsiderate. And again, this is not all women, just a good few of them. They're inconsiderate, they're selfish, they feel entitled, and they're not giving you anything. And we're not talking about material things. Usually, we don't even want material things from women.
Yeah.
It's the intangibles we want from them: the love, the affection, the softness, the agreeableness,
The support.
the support.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want. We don't. We appreciate when they do something nice for us in terms of something material. We appreciate it. Like your wife takes you out to lunch. What? Taking me out to lunch? And I feel like a delicate flower for like 5 minutes.
Or a bite of shilling.
Or a bite of
Bite
shilling.
of shilling. So for our international audience, a bite of shilling is we feel special.
Yeah.
Right?
Feel special for like 5-10 minutes. We like that once in a while. But typically, we don't really care about that when it comes to a woman. We want the intangibles. We want to know that you care. We want to know that you have our backs, that you're loyal, that you consider the things that we go through as men.
Correct.
And for us as black men, as men of African descent, it's even twice as hard.
And as we would have mentioned, I think we mentioned this in a previous episode as well, that men have it a lot harder than women in today's society for a lot of different reasons and a lot of different things. And so we have a lot more to basically fight for.
Yeah.
And then in another episode, we also mentioned that coming home after a hard day's work, as you mentioned just now, you don't want to fight another war.
Exactly.
You don't want to enter into chaos. You want to experience peace. Your home is supposed to be an environment of peace.
Yeah, that's a shelter. That's a shelter. So we spoke about the negative things. So
Yeah.
let's talk
But
about.
before we move on, I just also want to introduce at this point that, again, from my experiences, some women, so those things that we just mentioned there, some women like to bring up the point of the love languages. So things of, the physical gifts, the this, the that. I can't remember all of them right now, but yeah.
Yeah, acts of
So,
service,
the acts
physical
of service,
touch,
correct.
like the material gifts,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. They have different love languages.
Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Listen, these things were just meant to be guidelines, and people take them literal.
Mm-hmm.
Not you can't tell me that you will only feel appreciated if I buy you a diamond ring. You can't tell. Like, something has to be wrong with you if you're going to tell me with utter confidence that the only time you feel appreciated by me is if I buy you a diamond ring. Every time that the only time you feel appreciated by me is if I buy you 2 dozen roses.
So if you never do it, they never feel appreciated. We do everything else, but
Yeah. No, I'm make sure we have a home,
right.
right?
You have a roof over your head that's
Make
not
sure,
leaking.
make sure whatever you're going through, I'm listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll in your vent,
Right.
whatever. Nah.
If you had to go to a certain location, you're dropping your
You
there,
drop
picking
you there,
up,
picking you back up.
right?
Make sure I'm protecting you.
Mm-hmm. But once you don't buy them
But if
flowers,
you don't buy them roses, we have a problem.
yeah. And then, not only that, going out and telling their friends.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe this man.
The audacity.
The audacity. He knew I need my 2 dozen roses every 2 months. No, come on. Like, listen to all our songs. The Five Love Languages was a good book. I read the book. But the Five Love Languages was just a guideline, a series of guidelines for people to not necessarily follow, but to pay attention to their partner.
Mm-hmm.
Not give them what you think they would appreciate, but observe and see which of the things they tend to gravitate toward more when it comes to things that they appreciate you for, whether it be physical touch, acts of service, whatever it is. The book was meant to make you conscious of the things that make people feel loved,
Not to be used
not to
as
be
a
used as rigid
right.
laws that if you don't follow this, I can't appreciate you.
Mhm. There are people who use that as rigid laws, but
Nothing is ideal. You have to leave wiggle room. You have to leave wiggle room. So for all the ladies out there that feel as though they deserve a good man or a wealthy man or a high value man, you need to be a good woman. You need to bring emotional wealth. And you yourself need to be high value, but not in the same way a man is high value.
mhm,
A man's value is measured in a different way to a woman. So you need to figure out how a woman's value is measured. Here's the thing, you're going to find out how a woman how a woman's value is measured. But you have to accept it. You can't deny it. It's not about how you want the world to value you necessarily, but it is about how the world values you. Because the world values men in a particular way, and we accept it. That's just
mhm,
how it is,
correct.
right? We meant to provide, we meant to protect, we meant to um, be the foundation of a family, always there to be that strength. We are the strength of the family. But the woman's supposed to be the soul of the family.
Mhm.
And if you can't figure out how you can be the soul of the, because without the soul of the family, there's nothing. So you're just as important, even
Without
maybe
either one.
maybe even more important.
Mhm.
But if you continue to compare yourself to men in the direct comparisons,
Mm.
they'll always fail. Women weren't meant to be men. Women were meant to be women. It's that simple.
And as we would have mentioned in a couple of the earlier episodes, we were meant to be interdependent.
We were meant to be interdependent. There's nothing about independence and I'm an independent woman and this and because you don't hear guys going around saying like I don't need no woman. Guys wouldn't come out and say that, but women say it. I understand where it came from. Like some of the women of the past would have been abused and so on and so forth. I understand that, but you can't paint The broad brush across an entire demographic of the world's population because of the shortcomings of a few. Please understand that. You can't paint the entire population of men with the same brush because a few men messed up over the years. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about billions of men, and you are painting, you're broad brushing because of a few million. Now understand, million and billion are very, very far apart. They're very, very far apart. If I remember correctly, a million seconds is 4 days, and a billion seconds is 32 years, something like that. So million and billion is very far apart. So do not broad brush the billions of men because of the mistakes of a few million men. Please don't.
Hmm.
So,
So we spoke about the negative. So
mhm.
let's talk about the
So we're going
positive.
into the positives.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what I like to call them. I like to call them the diamonds. I like to call them the diamonds. They're rare, but they're there,
Hmm.
right? For the guys that are looking for a wife, these are the qualities that you're looking for. Again, of course, guys, yes, we are visual creatures. We like nice things. We like shiny things, right? But when it comes to looking for a wife, we can't just focus on the physical beauty. There are certain things that we have to pay attention to when it comes to character, when it comes to personality. The first thing you need to look for, you need to look for loyalty. You need to look for loyalty. You need to look for someone who isn't phased by the appearance of riches. You need to look for someone who doesn't care about what what a man has.
Hmm.
Now, having said that, you can't be no worthless man. When okay, there's again Trinidad slang. Sorry for the listeners and viewers in Belgium, France,
Russia
Russia, the US.
and the UK. So
Worthless is the way Trinidadians say worthless. So I can move on now. Okay.
waste man.
Always, man. It's the same thing as be of a man of no little to no worth. And he's not even trying. Okay. So yeah. So typically a woman who isn't fazed by what a man has or what a man could do for her. Again, this is not foolproof, but usually a woman that did not grow up in a broken home. She would have grown up in a home that had both parents, and both parents were very much a team. They're very much loyal to each other. They were very much considerate of each other's uh, feelings, flaws, shortcomings, so on and so forth. The mother respected the husband respected the wife. The um, the mother knew the father was the leader. The father knew the mother was the
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 soul.
soul, and both of them knew that the family would be nothing without the other. When they grow up in a family like that, they tend to not care about what a man could do for them because their father provided. Their father already gave them everything they needed or tried his best to. And I'm not talking about just material things. I'm talking about the the psychological and emotional things that a little girl needs and when she's growing up.
The foundations.
Yeah, like a lot of girls that seek attention. The reason for that is because they did not get it from their father. Whether they,
Something missing.
yeah, something was missing. Whether the father was not in her life or the father was not the head of the home, and everything ran through the mother. In this modern world, something like that sounds controversial. But
It's
there are
happening.
stats. You could
It's
go check it
happening.
out. There are stats. Children tend to grow up into more emotionally and psychologically stable adults when they grow up in a two-parent household. There are stats. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know there are stats that say they are more likely to be stable psychologically and emotionally when they grow up in two-parent households.
And to add, as you just mentioned, where the father is the head.
Yeah, and where the father is the head of the home. So, again, this is not foolproof.
Yes.
This is not foolproof. Right? Nothing is ideal. But you are more likely to meet an emotionally, psychologically stable woman that comes from a home like that.
There are always exceptions.
There are always exceptions. However, you're more likely to find a more emotionally and psychologically stable woman coming from a household like that. And they will not be bothered by the things a man has. They wouldn't need validation from social media or from a man or from men, or they'd be willing to build with you because they saw their mother build with their father. But if they didn't see that,
They wouldn't have any example.
they wouldn't have an example to draw from to see that that makes sense. So on one end, it's not their fault, but on another end, we adults now. There are resources that you could go and figure things out.
And I think in that instance, the knowledge of it or being aware of it is the first step.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
again,
a lot of people may not know about that. You
mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
they may just be going about life following the trend.
yeah. And again, we need to understand men and women, if you've been in a good few relationships and the problems are very similar or even the same,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not the people you were with.
What's the common denominator?
The common denominator is you. You need to figure out what is it about you that is attracting people like that. Where
Mm-hmm.
every time you get into a relationship or the friends that you have are all very similar and you always end up in very similar problems, or you break up the same way, or the the domestic issues are the same. What is it about you that is attracting people like this? And there's where we need to seek counseling, go to therapy, and navigate through the experiences you would have had in your life. And it's not, you're not going to a counselor because we think you're crazy. It's not about that. You don't go to a counselor because you're crazy. You don't go to a therapist because you're crazy. You go to a therapist because you're trying to navigate the things that would have happened in your life so that you could move forward with in a healthier psychological state.
So you don't get crazy.
So you don't get crazy. You don't go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is for. Okay, enough seriousness. Another good trait. Humility. Humility. The opposite of entitlement. The opposite of entitlement. I love to hear a woman say, you know, it's, you didn't have to do that. Like, that's so nice. You didn't have to do that for me. I really appreciate you. And like that is worth more weight in gold.
That's you don't hear that often at all these days.
Listen, just to hear a girl say that they appreciate you as a man,
Mm-hmm.
man, you feel like Superman. You feel like you could take on the world. You feel like everything that you do is worth it.
Yeah. Hmm. That's so true, huh? So true. And at this point, I also want to add even just to hear the words with sincerity that they're sorry about
Mm.
something. I, to be honest, bro, even just in daily life, going about day to day activities, I can't tell you last time I hear a woman say sorry, you know. And to add even to that, you're holding the door You open the door for a woman, right? You don't know the woman from nowhere. Just to hear the words, thank you. I've heard it, but it's not enough. It's not as it should be.
It wasn't sincere.
Yeah.
I have a story. So all those years ago when I was in tertiary education, in college for the Americans, there was a girl I knew. I'd never forget this. So we finished one of our classes and we were going into essentially the food court to have lunch. So I opened the door and I used to hang out with about 3 or 4 girls, all about like 3 guys and about 4 girls, right? So, but on this day, it was just me and 3 other girls. First girl came in, thanks Ron. Second girl came in, thanks Ron. Third girl came in. I shouted, "You're welcome." Her response, "I don't have to tell you thank you. You're supposed to do that." You heard what I just said, right?
Mm. Yep.
I don't have to tell you thank you. You're supposed to do that. Guess who never held the door again for her specifically? I ain't not supposed to do nothing. I'm being a gentleman, and you supposed to be a lady and say thank you. What's so hard to say 2 words
Mhm.
and mean it? Being considerate, being humble, not being entitled. Just because. Just because you model,
Mm.
like instantly, like you could be as pretty as what? You would go from a 10 to a negative 64 with a bad attitude and lack of humility.
Yeah.
We always end back up in the negative.
Yeah,
I
boy.
don't know
I'm not
why.
funny.
All the time. All the time.
So let me go back.
Let's just go back to
Let's
the.
just go
Let's try to get back to the
in the
positive.
past.
All the time. Okay, another thing. Agreeableness. And agreeableness doesn't mean do as I say. Do everything I say. That is not what agreeableness is. Agreeableness means if we're discussing something and there is, because let's be honest, not everyone is going to see eye to eye. Sometimes some people would know more than other people, but there are some people who act as though they know, but really they don't know that much. But because they want to win the argument, it's not even an argument. They want to win the discussion or the debate. they'll start to bring up things that have nothing to do with the conversation at all.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, we're trying to get to a state where you could understand me and I could understand you. This is not about
Winning.
winning.
Mm-hmm.
This is about getting to a state of understanding where you understand me, I understand you. So I'm not going to go down the negative path again. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay? What we love is when they say, I understand where you're coming from. I can understand why you said that. Don't necessarily have to agree, you know,
Mm.
but you could understand where I came from. Same with me. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but I could understand where it's coming from. Because if we could navigate through the thought process, navigate why, okay, why she said this, why he said this, okay, where's this coming from? Why is he upset about this particular situation? Why is she upset about this particular situation? Okay, I could understand. I may not necessarily agree with it, but I could understand the thought process.
Mm.
That is agreeableness. And then from there, we could find common ground. But I'm not going to go back to the. I almost went. I almost went there. I almost did it. Almost did it. But I'm not going to do it. So yeah. So let's move on to another one.
So far we have agreeableness,
Loyalty,
loyalty, humility.
humility. Mm. And not materialistic. We spoke about that. It was kind of in with the
The
loyalty
discussion.
and yeah, it was kind of like in there. Another one, softness. When I say softness, there's something that's innate in a woman. Her femininity brings out a certain delicateness, a certain softness about a woman that complements a man's nature. It's just something about that delicate, like that delicate nature that just makes you as a man feel as though you could do anything with her by your side and she's not like she's not raising her voice or anything. She's just being soft,
Mhm.
something about a soft woman, gentle woman that makes a man feel strong. Like we said in in an episode, I think it was 2 episodes ago. A man doesn't want to date another man. He wants to date a woman. So I don't want to be talking or arguing to the top of my lungs with
Mhm.
somebody. I don't want to be
Always on fight mode.
always on fight mode.
Yeah, the aggressive and the aggravation and the friction.
Yeah, and No. When I see my girl, I know, okay, I could come down to here and I could just enjoy being here for a little bit. That's how I want to feel when I see my girl, when I see my
Mhm.
wife.
Yeah. Or even if you're going through something
Or even,
and she appears.
yeah, like you could be dealing with the the world a mess, and you just see your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance, and nothing matters. That is where that's where a woman's power is, in her femininity. You want to conquer the world, or you want to be a queen? Be feminine. You want to build an empire with someone? Be feminine. Being feminine doesn't stop you from pursuing the things that you want to pursue either. But being feminine gets you married. Let's just put it out there. Being feminine gets you married.
Hmm.
And I can tell you, a man knows whether or not he's going to marry you within 6 months to a year of being with you. Let me say that again. A man knows he's going to marry you within 6 months to a year of being with you. You don't have to inveigle him to marry you. You don't have to coax him into marrying you. You don't have to threaten him into marrying you. As long as you're dating the right person.
Mhm.
So provided that you embrace your femininity, embrace your softness, embrace your grace. Once you do that, in a world where most women aren't that, I shouldn't say most, a lot of women aren't that,
Mhm.
you will be the most sought after. And realize,
And not only what you just said, but also that is not being quote unquote advertised and portrayed and basically the forefront of things as it should be.
mhm,
Yeah. It's almost like they have a anyway, let's not go down the negative.
yeah, let's not. We're trying to avoid
Avoid
the
the
negative.
negative.
We're
Yes,
trying
yes,
to
yes,
avoid the
yes.
negative. Let's not talk about the negative. So at the end of it all, if you notice, everything that we said here hasn't. We haven't spoken up to now about physical appearance when it comes to what we're looking for in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's important, but when you're talking about a wife, we could kind of not ignore it, but put it to the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
we could kind of set it aside for a bit. Because we're not handsome and beautiful forever. The wrinkles come, the hair turns gray,
Yeah. Body goes through
the body
changes.
goes through changes. But we, as long as we have hair, right? A marriage could be just as beautiful as when it started
Mm-hmm.
all those years ago.
Yep.
So, well, if you don't have anything else to say, I've said my piece.
I think that's about it for as much as I have to say on this topic right now as well.
Yeah, because we could go into this
It could go,
forever.
yeah, it
Yeah,
could
it
go on and on and
could
on.
go on and on and on. But I think for now, I think we could stop here. I think it was a good, let's call it a first draft
Mm-hmm.
on this topic. We're going to talk about it again from a different point of view. But I think it was a good first draft. I think we had a good conversation. And I think both men and women, but especially men, could learn from our experiences and from some of the insights we would have gathered from our experiences over the years. So, yeah, I think that's it.
So thanks again, guys, for joining us for yet another episode. And just to remind you all that we are on the three major podcasting platforms. Right, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Right, so you guys can check us out there again. Also, just to remind you all, we're trying to post content at least the audio content at least once a week, right? And just to remind you also that even though you're seeing that we are a little back, I mean, we're still trying to accommodate and do everything to at the
Things
same
happen.
time. Yeah.
Things happen.
So right.
Things happen.
Um so yeah, so we appreciate all the support as usual, and we also would like to encourage you all again, if you like our content, to subscribe, share with friends and family, and leave a like and a comment or two, and we'll try to respond to them as best as we could.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the liking and sharing, it helps us a lot. Right? It lets us know that you're enjoying the content. It lets us know where we need to improve so we could continue giving you good content or even better content. Okay. So thanks again, everyone, for taking the time to listen, to watch, and experience another episode of Legacy of the King. And we look forward to see you in the next episode. So
Take care.
take care, guys.